You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Mike.
And I'm Nathan.
Today, we're doing weekly recap number 24.
24.
No, it's 25.
Is it 25?
I think it's 25, actually.
Okay.
25.
It's a quarter of 100.
It is a quarter of 100. So we're
25,
getting
yeah.
up there. We're getting up there.
Okay.
We're a quarter. We're at
25
weeks. cents. Let's go.
Oh, it is 25 cents.
It is 25
quarter
cents.
of an hour.
Mm-hmm. That's
No,
true.
That's 15.
That is true. All right, let's get into it. So today we got some MCU news followed by some, of course, DC news because
Okay.
DCU's been rampant lately because
I'm
of all the
excited,
rumors.
man.
And then we're going to actually discuss, right after we get done with our DC news that we've been hearing about, we're going to discuss our top 5 projects we want to see in James Gunn DCU.
Yeah.
So this is completely theorized. This will be completely just for fun. Me and Nathan probably have completely different lists.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I know for sure you got at least a Flash one. For
Shush,
sure.
no way.
Look, all right, but this is for James Gunn. Right? We're manifesting this right now.
And
These
Peter
are going to come
Safran.
true.
And Peter Safran.
These are coming true right
These
here,
are coming
Michael.
true. These are going to happen.
We're speaking truth
We
right
want
here.
them. We need them. We're getting them. So that's what I'm saying.
I like that mindset.
All right, so let's go into our MCU news. First, just one piece of MCU news today, and that being that reported from the Marvels movie coming out in July of this
Okay.
year that we're going to officially have the debut of none other than the character Nova in the Marvels.
Really? Nova's making his appearance in the Marvels?
That is rumored.
I guess it makes sense.
It
though,
does. Cosmic
with the
vibes
themes,
and-
cosmic vibes.
Right. James Gunn did say he's not going to have Nova in his Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Yeah.
to introduce him in the Marvels, I think that'd
Yeah,
be
it
the next
makes
bet.
sense. Obviously, him and Adam Warlock
Right.
would kind of like clash with that
And
cosmic vibe.
realistically, characters tend to do better. Like characters like that, not
Yeah.
saying like your big leagues like Captain America and Iron Man, but characters like Nova, like smaller, not smaller grade, but like not as big characters are always better to be introduced first before getting their own project.
Facts in a movie, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So I'm glad that he may be introduced in this. I think that would definitely help out.
All right.
With the future of him maybe getting a solo project, movie or show or special, whatever it be. But I think also it would definitely improve the ratings, and
for sure.
the viewership
Well,
of this movie.
That definitely makes me excited because we
Yes.
talked about that. I know we're not super excited for this movie,
Right.
But knowing that Nova would be in it, like that's
Maybe.
encouraging. I mean, possibly, but he's a
Right.
dope character.
He is.
And I hope whatever vibe they got going, they don't just instantly
Right.
match it to the the Marvel's characters.
Right,
I hope
yeah.
they keep his authenticity.
I agree.
know?
So that'd be cool to see, and I'd be down for that, especially with Blue Marvel and just having this Marvel centered. I'm hoping. I'm hearing good things about this movie, so I'm hoping it lives up to that. So we'll see.
better.
It better. All right, now to get into our DC part
All right.
of this conversation. So starting off in DC News Strong, we already knew, we talked about this a few weeks ago, the Superman movie is in development by James Gunn
Yeah.
and Peter Safran. And apparently, we already know James Gunn's writing it, but apparently he's going to direct it as well.
Really?
This is a rumor. Again, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about today is rumors.
Yeah.
But I don't like this personally because I think him writing it's cool.
Yeah.
But personally, I would rather see someone else come in to direct. What do you think?
I mean, we've never really seen him. I guess maybe the closest thing would be like, I don't know, like maybe Watchmen, to a celestial kind of figure. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we've seen how awesome he is with team ups and no names, but I don't know, taking a character like this, that's just hard to
It's
do,
hard
man.
deal. It's hard
I
deal.
mean, obviously you got all that cinematography with him flying, the fight scenes, while
Right.
staying true to the source material. He might be just the hardest
mean,
DC character
he
to
did
get right.
He did direct a kind of a superhero film that is not really superhero, but it was kind of like the premise of what if Superman turned bad back a few years ago. I forgot what that movie was called, but it did horribly, and it was apparently not a good movie.
Yeah,
So kind of makes me a little bit nervous for that.
I know.
To see that, if he couldn't work with a Superman who gone bad, how can he work with the actual
I
Superman?
know. And honestly, I'm kind of worried about him writing it too. And this is not
Yeah.
a knock on him or anything.
Right.
Because he's an amazing writer, but I don't know. I would like to see a completely different take now that he's
Right.
over it. Like, before we were talking about maybe like a Spielberg kind of situation.
I think that would be great.
I would like to see someone who has some experience, or it's like, who's just nerdy, man.
Right.
In that sense. Like,
Yeah.
as much as I love Gunn, like, let's try something else.
I agree. Let's
You know,
get something
maybe-
new. Let's get something cool. But we'll see.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser
Superman.
as Superman.
Yeah.
Man, I think he'd be great Perry White.
Yeah,
He'd be a great
he
Perry
really
White.
would.
He'd be a
He
great
would be
Perry White.
good.
So Brendan Fraser, Perry White. There you go. All right. Next up, Green Arrow movie apparently is in the works.
Really?
Which I'm down for.
Yeah.
Obviously, it probably wouldn't be Stephen Amell, which I
Of
love.
course. He's old
But
now.
he is older, and I do think they need to, because honestly, like Arrow was a great show, But
And the first two seasons were great.
The first 5 seasons minus season 4.
It got CW'd so hard.
It did. After season 5, it got CW'd. But
yeah.
Season 4 was not good. But the rest, season 1 through 3 and 5
1 through 3 were very good.
They were very good. Season 5, I personally really loved.
You like 5?
I did. All right. But Green Arrow is apparently going to get his own project. And
okay.
Again, like I said, Stephen Amell was great in the role. My only problem with that in the Arrow show was they made Arrow Batman.
Yeah.
And like his
There's
character.
no need for that. Yeah.
And no, they in the comics and in the cartoons and everything else, he's always lighthearted. He's a goofball sometimes. He's a jokester. He's blonde.
Yeah.
And he gives those
Got
kind of vibes off.
Goatee, the mustache.
Right. So I prefer to see that take in a movie as to the Batman take we got on the Arrow. So
and I guess with the Arrowverse, they didn't have a Batman-like figure. They couldn't just go ahead and use him, so they kind of instituted him. Whereas this would be completely different, because by the time they would get this movie, I assume they would already have the Batman movie probably in like the second made movie after Superman.
Right.
So I think they'd do a good job. You could get somebody like I'm not gonna just say Austin Butler every time, but I mean,
I heard Austin Butler as well.
Who could be, who can be goofy, who's blonde. But that's not like a hard role to do.
It is not.
It's pretty straightforward.
It is. So we'll see.
Big enough to deserve his own project.
He's definitely big enough to deserve a movie. So I would love to see him in the future. So we'll see. Next up, we already talked about a couple weeks ago. Also, a Green Lantern movie being in the works after being redeveloped from a show. But some new insight is coming about it, and that being that it's going to involve not only Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan will be the main character of this project, but it's saying that it'll also have the characters of Jon Stewart and Jessica Cruz be heavily involved in this project, which honestly I think would work just because if you want something different and you want to introduce like the 3 main lanterns already, I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, as long as they give Hal Jordan his time to shine, I mean, obviously that'd be confusing if you throw it in and you're not sure who, the main character is. Obviously, give Hal Jordan his time to shine, bring up those, side characters and then build them off from that movie works perfectly.
I think if we did like Hal Jordan and then have Jon Stewart and Jessica Cruz be involved, but then when he comes to have Hal Jordan be still the main character, but also have him be the one in the Justice League first as to them, and just keep them in the Green Lantern universe for now until they're wanting to bring them in later. I think that would work best. All right, next part is we got a rumored Wonder Woman movie in development, a brand new movie in development, and they're eyeing a younger actress, saying in young 30s to play this role, and apparently it'll be set in present day times. Yes, as to the last 2 Wonder Woman
obviously they have to go present day because they want to avoid comparison at all costs with the DCU. They want to forget that.
Which the first Wonder Woman movie is actually really good.
It's good, yeah.
I think, redoing it with this one, hopefully it'll be even better.
Give me an actress you could see maybe. Would they like black
I'd
hair?
have to think about it.
Younger. I know. I can't think of
the problem with my thing is like younger actors. Like all the actors are starting to get so older now, and it's kind of hard to imagine some actors in certain roles. So I don't know. And maybe bring in some no names. I don't know.
I know.
I just keep picturing Gal Gadot.
I know that might be the move, and it's just weird to hear talks about a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah,
like it just got canceled. Like Gal Gadot is gonna be on everyone's minds, man.
Exactly. And she was a great Wonder Woman.
Also, they can't just bring her back. So
but they haven't confirmed getting rid of her yet. They have. I mean, they've got pretty much confirmed it by saying Wonder Woman 3's canceled, but they haven't come out and said it. Unlike Henry Cavill, that she's not coming back. But I would assume that she's not, considering what I've heard about her, Cavill and Momoa.
There's no way, man.
No, there is no way. All right. Also, it's been reported that Matt Reeves has met with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it apparently does seem that the Batman universe that Matt Reeves created will be its own separate section in the DCU and its own Batverse as to part of the greater DCU.
I mean, obviously, as much as that hurts to know that Pattinson won't be the Batman moving forward with James Gunn, that's also a really good thing because that gives Matt Reeves almost complete freedom to do what he wants. With Paul Dano's character and Barry Keoghan, and Pattinson, he can do whatever. It's his own universe.
This is the problem I have. I mean, it's pros and cons to the situation, and the reason that they're meeting is to make sure that their paths don't cross with certain characters and certain stories that they're going to develop from the comic books. My problems with this is looking at the perspective of casual fans. and there's going to be two Batmans at the same time going on, it could hurt both studios.
I think regardless, I think casual fans will come out to see both Batmans. Like I really do think so.
I think it could happen, but just my trouble with that is just so many people would get like, I could literally see people getting frustrated that there's two Batmans that are completely different and they're completely different universes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of a different Batman universe that just purely is a deep dive into the stories of Batman. Like, for example, going deep into Robin's storyline, going deep into the villains and going deep into the expanded shows of Penguin, Arkham Asylum, and Batman 2 and all these awesome stuff to go into a deeper Batman universe would be awesome as heck. But I also would love to see Robert Pattinson in that universe be a part of this greater DCU as well, and him be a part of the Justice League. So that's just the kind of troubles that I see. And I see a lot of people being like, Matt Reeves needs to be a separate universe. And I see a lot of people that are like, no, it needs to be all one. So there's pros and cons, you know.
Obviously everyone's really biased, but the more time I've had to think about it, I really think this is a good choice. I mean, think about Pattinson's age, man. Like, the man's like 40. They're making a DCU playing 8 to 10 years. You can't be playing Batman.
Well, he's just 36.
I know, but all the other actors are getting are younger too for the other roles, so it just makes sense. But here's what I think will happen. I think this might prove trouble for James Gunn, because I low-key think that Matt Reeves' Bat Universe is going to outshine.
I agree.
I really do think so. Like you said, he has more flexibility because he's not working with all the other studios and companies that come with all the other characters. He's focusing solely on Batman, his Rogue Gallery, the Bat family, all that. I think low-key this will be possibly the best DC content that we've gotten since,
that's
Dark
where
Knight.
I think we'll run into a problem as well, is it's going to go into like a Spider-Man effect. Like, for example, you had Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, who spun off as supposed to be its own thing after Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man ended up getting canceled. And it was supposed to be its own thing, and it was coming out around the same time as the MCU movies was going on.
And these 2014, 2012, right?
And the Amazing Spider-Mans, both Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, were so completely overshadowed by this greater MCU that ended up getting canceled, and they weren't as good.
I know.
And that's why they end up having to make a partnership and bring in Tom Holland. I think the opposite effect will happen here. I think the Batman movies in the DCU that James Gunn does and has happened will be overshadowed
by Matt
and they'll end up being something happen and they're not going to be wanted. They're not going to do well in the box office, and they're going to struggle because Matt Reeves' universe is so amazing.
I know.
Already.
And not only does he have Pattinson, who not only all the high school girls like from Twilight, but all the dudes, obviously love him, but he's already established as a Batman, and we saw how well that film did. So I do agree. I think James Gunn is going to have this movie. It's going to be good, but completely overshadowed by the amazing projects that Reeves is going to come out.
That's going to be the struggles. There's definitely pros and cons to these situations, but again, I'm ecstatic to get a Batman universe, but I also would love to have a greater DC universe as well. So we'll see what goes on with that.
Oh, well.
All right. So that brings us to discuss our top 5 projects we want to see in James Gunn's DCU. Now, disclaimer again, these projects do not necessarily exist. They may be in the plans. It may not be. We know James Gunn in the next 2 weeks or so is going to come out with some plans, not a lot, but he's going to reveal a few things, and we'll definitely break that down. But these are just some stuff that we would love to see that we've kind of never really gotten
a chance to see
with the greater DCU. So I'll start off because I think you started last time.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's number 5. And that number 5 is a movie that we discussed as apparently rumored to be in development anyway, and that being the Green Arrow movie.
Okay.
I love the character of Green Arrow anyway. And again, I want to see an authentic comic book Green Arrow. And I think it'd be really cool to see that in his own project as to, the Arrow show. And I don't know who they could bring in, whether it's Austin Butler, new, completely different actor, no name. I would just love to see it. Maybe, I don't know who would be the villain. I know Black Canary, bring her in for this movie for sure.
Okay.
Some other of these characters maybe as well. Definitely don't do the route of Arrow and make Felicity the love interest, because that's just not comic accurate. Make it Laurel Lance and have her be more likable in this Green Arrow show. And I would definitely prefer that. So that's my number 5.
Okay, I respect it. My number 5. All right, put your thinking caps on. Imagine an animated Ra's al Ghul show.
Ooh.
So imagine, we've never just gotten to see a ton of him, right? We got to see him, obviously in Arrow, but he's one of the coolest characters.
Oh, man. He's definitely
living
awesome.
for, hundreds and hundreds of years. Imagine all the stuff he did. Imagine Genghis Khan, kind of an animated show of just him just wiping out people, dude. I feel like it would
sick.
go hard, you know?
Kind of sick,
and like maybe, building up the League of Assassins and all that jazz. And if it's animated, they would have a lot more freedom. So
they would have a lot more freedom.
I think that would be cool to expand his character and maybe dive into his, personal life a little bit more too.
I like that.
So
idea.
yeah, that's my number 5.
That's a good idea. And then implement him in live action the movies
exactly.
As well later on. That's cool.
And it wouldn't have to be canon either. It probably would benefit.
I think it would benefit if it was canon more so.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 4, I have a Martian Manhunter show. I think he deserves it. Like, he's a founding member of the Justice League in the comics.
Yeah.
He's one of the original 7, and he's a really cool character that's never really gotten his place to shine. I mean, yes, he was in Zack Snyder's Justice League and very minimal role, and that was kind of his only live action point besides the Supergirl show, which I'm not a huge fan of, aside from like the first 2 seasons. And
it was terrible.
Yeah, after that, it just kind of it got CW. Personally, I think it was better on CBS than it was on CW. But the Green Arrow, Martian Manhunter, like, I just think it'd be really cool to see him, implement this show before the Justice League movie that you possibly have, maybe, and then implement him there as the original member. I think would be super cool to see that.
Yeah,
so, a Martian Manhunter show.
All right. My number 4, I have a live action, think like 8 episodes, Mr. Freeze show. So this whole thing would be based on his regular life. Like, it wouldn't be until the last 2 episodes where he goes all Mr. Freezy. But that would just really, hit home on who he is, his intentions, and just like how good of a person he actually is until tragedy hits. So this would be like kind of like a drama.
Okay.
So I think that would like pull like low-key a lot of like heartstrings.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think I like the idea of like Batman villains getting their own like I like
just personalizing them, man. Like, that's what I would like to see.
I think maybe it would be better off to do maybe a show dedicated to Batman villains as to like a full just Mr. Freeze. For example, like 30
so you're saying
minutes.
like 30 minutes I feel like it had to be at least an hour, dude.
You think an
really,
hour?
Yeah, I mean, because you'd be covering like who they were before and who they are after and what had to happen.
I mean, you fit a lot in what time, but maybe like 30 minutes to an hour show, just like 8 episodes, and give me a Mr. Freeze show, give me a Scarecrow show.
If it was 30 minutes,
Pig,
I think animated would low-key be better.
Yes, animated for sure. I would think animated. So,
but that's my number 4.
Okay. Coming at number 3, I have a brand new Batman movie. Obviously, because that's not Robert Pattinson involved. Because I love the character of Batman, and I love the idea of a Batman within the greater universe of a Justice League. Even though I would prefer it to be Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I would just like to see it, and I would like to see Scarecrow as the main villain.
Okay.
I mean, we've seen it done with Cillian Murphy in Batman Begins, but ultimately Ra's al Ghul is the villain of that movie.
Yeah.
And personally, I would like to see Scarecrow stand out, him be the main one, him pulling the strings as to being the side. I think that'd be really cool, and to deep dive into the Batman universe in that is interconnected and has references and cooler things to a greater DC universe would just be cool to me. So I would like to see that.
All right. At my number 3, I have a Batman solo movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would get overshadowed by Pattinson, and that's why it's number 3. If it wasn't for the Batverse, this would, be number 1. But like you said previously, this would be fire. A great introduction to the character. I know they would go probably young, I imagine, with this cast. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of disappointing that it isn't number 1.
Right.
It should be, but it's not.
Yeah, I agree. All right, coming in at number 2, I have a Justice League movie done right. I need a Justice League movie that has already benefited from having a Superman movie, Batman movie, Green Lantern movies, and all these movies that accumulate together to give me a great team up movie of our original 7 members.
Yeah.
In the Justice League movie, like we need Superman, we need Batman, we need Wonder Woman, we need Flash, we need Green Lantern, we need Aquaman, we need Martian Manhunter as this original team. No Cyborg, no others. Don't overshadow Green Lantern. We need this original team for this movie, and I think we need the villain to be Brainiac for the first one.
Okay.
Again, this is the first movie I'm talking about. I think Brainiac would be the great first villain. Him coming to Earth, I think it'd be a perfect incentive to have these characters come together for the first time. Yeah. And I think it would work really, really well. So I want to see that. So number 2.
My number 2, I'm going to Flash movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've never really gotten to see this. Obviously, origin story, you'd have Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash. I think that would be epic. Keep him around, as a villain for maybe a trilogy, have him back off, pull the strings number 2. Bring him back hard for number 3.
Right.
It would be tearjerker, a lot of deaths. I don't know, whoever did the speed fights in Eternals, bring him in. That's the kind of fights I'd like to see. Right. But that's just a story that we need to have fleshed out that we haven't seen before. So that's at number 2 for me.
And coming at number 1 for me is obviously the Flash movie.
Yeah.
A Flash. I mean, yes, we're getting this one with Ezra Miller in June, but it's just, it's not it. And this one would be it. I mean, we need a new casting. You know, I have my eye on Lucas Till because he just looks like Barry Allen. But I mean, somebody else, like, it'd be great to have. I mean, we just need a brand new Flash movie. I agree. Reverse Flash is the villain, and it would be beautiful. You know, the Flash is one of the greatest characters of all time. You know, we need him to have a great movie, fleshed out movie, to where we can expand him. You know, we need an origin story because. Yes, we got it in the show, and that's the only time we've ever gotten in live action. But this is going to be technically like his. I mean, I don't even want to count Ezra Miller's, but like this will be the first time we get that, and I think we should get an origin. So I think we'd like that for number 1.
I agree. And my number 1, my favorite DC villain, I'm going a Deathstroke movie, live action. Now, this movie would be an introduction. It would show him learning his skills, but low key, it would just be about him revolting. Going against League of Assassins, low key would be fire. Either that or put him against a smaller, actually good guy and have him win. But I think Deathstroke is one of the most intriguing characters, and I think we just need him, bro.
Yeah, I love Deathstroke.
Make it R though, like make it like Logan-esque, but obviously not. You know, he's
I don't know
older, but he's
how
younger.
I'd feel about him being, you know, getting his own movie. I like the idea of
like
him being
maybe
a villain.
he goes against like Ra's al Ghul.
That'd be
maybe like
cool.
they change up a little bit.
It'd be kind of cool to have Deathstroke as the villain of a Batman movie. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like a 1v1. But I do think before that, he at least should get a show.
Okay,
he needs to have some type of introduction.
He is a really cool character,
like really,
and he does give that Deadpool-esque.
And it would have the best like fight cinematography.
I feel like if they did that, then they would go more in the anti-hero storyline as they would then.
Well, I mean, honestly, that would be kind of fire. Though. Think about it. I mean, as far as we know, Gunn's just going with the good guy stuff.
Right.
Let's see some Marvel, Sony type of anti-hero stuff.
I guess. All right. All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of our top 5 projects we would love to see. I mean, of course, there's a bunch of others that we'd love to see as well. But James Gunn, hopefully he'll deliver. And Peter Safran, I have hope, but we'll see.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know by giving us a review and a download. Our podcast, Here's in the Moment, is available on all major podcast platforms, so check it out. Speaking of, our last episode was news number 24, so check that sucker out. And if you want to stay up to date on the socials, it's Here's in the Moment on Instagram, and Here's in the Moment with an extra T on TikTok.
Yeah, so we just want to thank y'all for listening, and as always, we love you 3000.